my life has really just been a testimony of people telling me things that I can't do. That has been a thing since I was younger. Like I was always smaller than everybody else. So it was like, I gotta have that confidence in everything that I do. And this is what I've preached to a lot of people is I can give you the tools, I can give you the resources, but I can't do the work for you.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
everything that we can offer you, I'm gonna give it to you, but it's up to you to take it and run with it. And that was something I had to teach myself.
Sure.
And that's how I just approached everything moving forward. So like confidence, bro, that's something nobody can take that away from you. Sure. I create my own confidence. Nobody can take my confidence away from me unless I allow them to.
You're tuned into another episode of the Hustle Man Show. If you're a first-time watcher, we've gotten a lot of different kind of people on here so far. We've gotten people that are trying to make it as artists. We've gotten established artists on here, people that have started their own business, people that have a consulting business for the marijuana industry. Just a varying range of people. We've had a puppeteer on here. My next guest has a very, very interesting story. He's in the apparel industry. He started his own brand, and I'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Charles J. Charles,
What's up?
how are you, my friend?
What's going on?
How's everything? Good?
Everything's good, man.
Good,
You know
good.
it's a marathon.
Good, absolutely. And I see you got the marathon running behind you too.
Always. That's all I listen to, man. Vertical integration. That's what Nipsey talked about, right?
For sure. So has any of that stuck with you? That vertical integration?
Listen, that's been in the back of my mind since day one. Even before I started my clothing brand, my idea of the brand was really just to be a testimony for what I can help do for somebody else. And that was my vision from 5-6 years ago from the gate. So, being able to kind of bring that idea into fruition now with the space that we actually just leased out, it's kind of like just everything coming full circle. So
That's
it's just dope, man.
That's dope. Well, I want to congratulate you on your new space, bro.
Thank you.
But before we peel that back and really get to know that, I just want to talk about a little bit more about you as a person. You know, a lot of people launch brands and they miss one of the most important aspects to launching a brand is that story, that fundamental reason for pushing that extra mile, right? And in this day and age, a lot of people have choices. They don't have to choose you. They can choose anybody else, right? So I feel like that story right now is so fundamental to why people bang with you as a brand, as a company, as a person, or whatever it is, right? So a little bit of background about you as a person, how you started the brand, and then what transpired in order to get you there.
Right. I mean, we'll start from the beginning. So at age 2, I was diagnosed with a Wilms tumor. I had kidney cancer, had my right kidney removed, went through chemotherapy. And growing up, I was kind of always in I wouldn't say fashion, I would say more so personal style. Like that was what I loved and what I've been able to being able to express myself through, getting dressed every single day. I would go to class in college and even high school. I would wear like a blazer and a bow tie. I would be like that weird kid that would just like always dress up for no reason at all. So when I was in college, I actually taught myself how to do graphic design and web design. So I was building logos and doing websites for other brands. And a photographer at the time, who was a good friend of mine, Devin Dooley, he actually ended up going on tour with Ryan Leslie, and I was handling a lot of his bookings, creative direction, and things like that for him. So once I graduated from college, I was like, yo, I want to start something that, I can call my own. But from the gate, I didn't want to start like a t-shirt brand. I didn't want to just, grab wholesale blanks and screen print or embroider on them. I wanted to construct a garment from scratch. And I had no type of, history in the fashion industry. I didn't go to school for it. The only thing I knew was, the graphic part, where I know if I could get something down digitally, I could eventually get to a final product.
Sure.
So that summer after I graduated, I grabbed my LLC. I had a little bit of money saved up. I was working full time in college and playing basketball and going to school full time. So I was running 18, 19, 20 hours a day, whether it was work, school, or basketball. So I had a little bit of bread saved up and I started, finding manufacturers overseas. Like I didn't want to just. I dealt with local first. Like I dealt in the U.S. and the price points were just extremely too high.
Right.
Like I got a custom baseball jersey made. It was like all white stitched polyester jersey, and it was running me like $95 a unit. So like realistically, for me to even be a successful business, I got to sell it for like 300 to
Right.
make like a decent amount of money. So I came out the gate with that, selling it at 300. I sold a couple of them. I had a couple of friends that were in the NFL and the NBA, so they bought it. But the average consumer couldn't afford that. So I was like, yo, I got to find something that, can get my cost down a little bit, but I can also do a little bit more customization. So that throughout the rest of the summer, I started looking for manufacturers on Alibaba, and I started testing out manufacturers. And as I started going through that process, manufacturers would ask me, hey, do you have this? Do you have that? And I had no idea what they were talking about, but I would never tell them no. I would just tell them, yeah, I can get it to you tomorrow or get it to you the next day. And they were basically walking me through the entire manufacturing
They
process.
were teaching you.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. So I was just
you were allowing yourself to be taught through the process.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they basically walked me through the process. And then after I went through the process like 3 or 4 times of like just getting a sample made, I started to understand like, okay, this is what the manufacturers are looking for.
They need a
This is
tech.
what
They
the
need a tech
average
back.
price point.
They need a tech back. They need a
Exactly.
quantity number. They need to know what
Yep.
materials are going to be used. You cannot just have an idea. Everybody's got
Yeah.
ideas. It's got to
Yep.
be a lot more than ideas. Right.
Exactly. And then I started diving into, like what is a tech flat?
Right.
What does that consist of?
Right.
Does it consist of me just having a digital mock-up, or is it me actually doing all my own measurements and hand picking all my fabric and understanding the difference between, fabric weights, GSM and all of that stuff. So um that process has been really like the last 4 years, just like trial and error,
Let me
testing out products.
let me stop you for a second because you said something that was interesting. You say you saved some money right out of college and then you started your label, right? What
Mhm.
two questions. First question is why were you empowered to even start the label? Why did you think that you can pop it off, right?
Mhm.
Because you have to have the audacity of self-confidence to do that,
Without a doubt.
right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can think to themselves, I'm going to launch this label. I'm going to take it where it needs to go. Second thing
Right.
is for some of the people listening to this, right? They're aspiring to start a business. They're aspiring to start a label, a clothing label, a record label, whatever the case may be. They want to understand. Some people are like really, really preparation oriented, right? They're always trying to prepare, but they don't ever get to actually doing it because the preparation takes precedent.
Yeah.
So how much money did you start your business with? Because that's always an interesting question.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to talk about it because I look at it like one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. But I didn't pay my term bill when I graduated. So instead of paying my term bill, like when I graduated, I didn't get my diploma. I had a term bill in my like diploma when they handed it to me. So I still to this day don't have my diploma. I took that money and started my brand. So I had about 8 to 10K saved up. And I put all of that into just finding manufacturers. I didn't care about, I was so busy being creative that I didn't even care about the business aspect of things. Cause I was like, yo, I just want to create something. And I didn't have like a great idea at first, but it was more so just like, yo, I just want to create something to get the process started. Cause that's the most difficult part.
Wait,
Like you were saying,
hold on.
but
So you're in college, right? How many? I'm not sure what how many people in your family graduated from college in the United States, but I was the first to do it myself, right? Which is a big
Yeah.
deal to people when you're the first of your family to do it, right?
Right.
So I'm not talking about your situation, I'm talking about mine. But
Right.
you're gonna graduate. You can't get your diploma unless you pay that term bill. There's a bill at the end of your semester. So along with your diploma, the school system gives you something really. They give you a gift at the end of the diploma process. They give you a bill.
Mm-hmm.
So you take the money that you're supposed to pay the bill that you're saving up, and you end up investing that money into your brand. That's interesting, bro. That's very, very interesting. I was not expecting you to say that, to be honest with you. But that's very, very interesting.
I still to this day have not paid that bill. And I don't, and to me, like I graduated, like I got all my credits. I don't need a diploma. I can put anything on my resume. I can fluff my resume and say I graduated.
So, but that's a testament to how much you really care about what it is that you're doing. You valued investing in yourself versus giving, another $10,000 to XYZ University, Right. I want to clarify my position on that and just say say this correctly. That way, school is important for some people that don't really know where they're headed in life, and they need to move forward. I understand the value of that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not sure, if you're sure about who you are and what it is that you want to do with the rest of your life, a move like Jay's move makes sense, and a move like my move makes sense, like dropping out of school and taking, your book money and investing it in your business, because I have a similar story. So,
and to touch on the confidence part, like the first part of the question that you asked, like I was a basketball player in college. I played basketball for 4 years. I walked on at Rutgers Camden. I didn't get a scholarship. I was supposed to go in school in Florida. My scholarship fell through. I ended up getting into Rutgers Camden 3 days before classes started. I walk in the coach's office and be like, "Yo, I want to play on the basketball team. Here's my highlight tape." He's like, "All right, yeah, just come to the workouts." I come to the workouts. Fast forward 4 to 5 years later, I started since I was a freshman. I gave the school the first winning season in school history. I set 4 to 5 records while I was there, in my stint there. And on the flip side, I wasn't even supposed to be playing basketball because I only have one kidney. So from a confidence standpoint, like my life has really just been a testimony of people telling me things that I can't do. Like, yo, you're too small to play college basketball. I was 5'11", 130 pounds.
right,
I'm not supposed to be playing basketball in college. Like
right,
that's just the grand scheme of things. But that has been a thing since I was younger. Like I was always smaller than everybody else. So it was like, I gotta have that confidence in everything that I do. I gotta look at myself like, yo, I'm the small guy right now, but I'm not gonna always be that guy. And I just took that confidence with everything that I did, and I just translate that competitive nature to the fashion industry when I graduated. Because it was like when I started designing for my brand, it wasn't like, yo, I want to be like, you know, Supreme. Like that wasn't my goal. My goal was like, yo, I want to be the next Ralph Lauren. And I thought that in my mind from the day that I started. So it wasn't like, all right, well, I got to do this step first, that step first. I'm like, no, like I see that's where I want to be. That's the influence that I want to have. And I know I got to put my 30 to 20 years in to do that. But by me having, that vision of seeing things like I can see the end finish without even understanding the race
right,
because I can figure that out along the way. It's just like it's the same thing Nipsey says running a marathon. Like you're gonna have obstacles. You're gonna have to, you might have to sprint here, but then you might have to walk there. And then you might have to hop on your bike. You might have to swim, to the next destination. But it's like you're constantly just put into situations where adversity is gonna pop up and your character is gonna be tested.
for
And
sure.
like I had a situation with a manufacturer where they delayed my production for 9 months. I could have laid flat and just been like, yo, I can't do this anymore.
Right,
But instead, I was depressed for like a month or two, but then I just went out and found a new manufacturer and built a whole nother collection. And that collection was the collection that got on Swiss Beats. So it's like those trials and tribulations are what's going to shape you into the person that you are. Like now, any type of situation or adversity that I like is handed to me, I defeated cancer.
yeah,
Anything in front of me is minor.
sure,
And that's how I just approached everything moving forward. So like confidence, bro, that's something nobody can take that away from you. I
sure,
create my own confidence. Nobody can take my confidence away from me unless I allow them to.
sure.
And I've always been like that strong minded individual that like I don't really care what the fashion industry is doing. I don't care what the person on my left or my right is doing. I'm gonna do whatever I think is right and I'm gonna do it my way.
That's dope. That's dope. So where did we leave off before we went in that direction? We left off of you getting that money. You're out of school. You start the label, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're 4 years into it at this point.
Right.
You take.
Yeah, I'm in my fifth year now. Yeah.
You're in your
So.
fifth year, right? So year one, year two, what does it look like for you? You invest.
Year one.
You invest this money. What does year one, year two look like? And then give me like a fork in the road right after you start that says, I think I'm onto something here.
So year one was, like the baseball jersey, and then that fall I dropped my first set of like hoodies and stuff. And then
Was the baseball jersey a win for you because of design? Was it a win for you because of the economics of it, or it was just kind of like, let me see if I can do this. I can do this. Let's see.
yeah, the baseball jersey was more so like,
Testing
yo,
the waters.
I made a decision to start it. And
Yeah.
that was kind of like, the kickstart
Yeah.
to get things rolling. And I came out the gates selling it at $300. I was a nobody. People were asking me like, "Yo, who the fuck do you think you are selling a baseball jersey for 300?" And it's just the fact that I really didn't care about what they thought because I knew that I put so much time and effort into my product, and quality was always my foundation.
Right.
I always made sure that my products are a certain level before they even touch the market. So even I had no idea what I was doing with the baseball jersey. The quality of it was still phenomenal.
Right.
So like I didn't lack in that area. So when I dropped it for 300, I had a couple people that bought it, but I only had like 10 or 15 units made. I didn't have to go get 50 or 100 because I got them made in the US. So that was like just a trial that I went through. It was like, oh wow, like I can do this. And then now I start getting into the overseas manufacturing, and I started designing like that next collection. Like my first official collection dropped fall winter of 2016. That was my first cut and sew collection that I ever dropped. So I really didn't drop a full collection until a year after I started.
Right.
Most people would have just dropped a collection like that fall and been like, yo, like my brand is here, it's rolling. But I just took the time to invest in figuring out the process first before I started, really putting my product out. Like the baseball jersey was just a tester, like, oh yeah, I got a brand. Here's something that we put out, and it's just a little taste. And then I took a year to figure out the manufacturing process, tech packs, sourcing fabric. And then that fall 2016 was a launch that let people know, like, yo, I'm serious about this. Like
Yeah.
I'm really serious about being a designer, not just having a t-shirt brand.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a suede zip up shirt, a suede bomber jacket. I had a short sleeve sweatshirt that had paint splats all over, screen printed, then had a Terry Towel logo embroidered on top. So when it came to like just me doing random stuff that like was super untraditional, I did that from the gate. And I think that's what allowed me to really stay true to that vision. So year 2 and year 3 was kind of like, you know, the second part of testing the waters because I just started with cut and sew.
Right.
But I had artists and local celebrities like gravitate towards my product organically. I didn't have to pay for product placement my first 2 years. It was so organic at that point where like people like, yo, that jacket is dope. Where did you get it? Oh, and then I got it from the brand URBANE, and they were like, oh, word, like where are they from? Oh, they based out of South Jersey. And then people from New York are hitting me up like, yo, like we heard about your brand and da 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 da. And I'm just sitting here like, how did people in New York hear about my brand? I'm just in South Jersey.
Right.
So it's like, and then I started dealing with like, DJ Caution and like local celebs that, got a little bit of buzz, and the brand just started to get a little bit of awareness up
Right.
on social media. And then I just continue, to keep releasing more products. And then I did my first pop-up shop. We had like 150 to 170 people come out to my first pop-up shop.
Where was the pop-up shop?
We did at Open Space in Philly.
That's in Philly?
Yeah, it was a small event space. It's probably like 1,400 square feet, a big white room. But we didn't do a fashion show.
Right.
We did basically the models were live mannequins, so they were standing on platforms, and we showcased every single piece that I released up to that point.
That's dope.
And people loved it because it was super untraditional. And as from a design standpoint, like that's who I am. I'm not your traditional designer. I use untraditional fabric selections and combinations. So like that just fed into the whole concept behind the brand. And then realistically, I didn't even come up with the color block logo until a year in. So realistically, I only had the name at first. I only had the name URBANE at first. But from a branding standpoint, I don't like having my name all over a product.
Right.
To me, it's just like it's like seeing Michael Kors. Like after you see Michael Kors once or twice, you're like, yo, like I don't need to see it anymore. I understand it's a label, but like I want people to be able to see my product and not have to see the name, but still know exactly who it is. And when I came up with the color block logo, this transcend back to when I was getting my treatment at Children's Hospital. Every morning I wake up, I'll play with these building blocks. And that's how I came up with the logo design. But it took me a year in of my brand to figure out, what my Nike check or what my Adidas stripe is. And once I found that, I started to build that into every single product and every single concept that I had moving forward.
So that's what the color block represents. It represents the blocks that you used to play with when you were going through your treatment.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's very cool. So I guess that you talked about the color block a lot. I guess that was your pop-off item year 2.
Yeah, that's when I released my first cut and sew. That's where the color blocks actually came in, and I called that the foundation collection. That was like basically I look at my interaction with the color blocks was me taking everything that I've been through and using that for a foundation for how I was going to live my life from an adversity standpoint, from, dealing with any type of issues or problems that come my way. I have such a strong foundation that it doesn't matter what's really in the forefront because I can get past that.
That's
And that's
dope.
what the whole foundation collection was about.
So you make this you make a capsule. You call this the foundation. You
Hmm.
create a color block logo that's really representative of yourself.
Hmm.
How do you market it? How do people know that this is a product, this is a label, this is a
Hmm.
collection of products? How do they know about the product? How do you get it out there?
Right. So one of my mentors was one of my coaches in high school and one of my teachers, my TV production teacher. So I did a lot of work with the kids at the high school. So we actually brought some of the kids in to intern and they shot a lot of my content from the gate. So I was able to document a lot of the things that I was doing, whether it was design work or like my behind the scenes at Philly Fashion Week and things like that. So by me being able to, tell my story visually and tell people, that I am a cancer survivor and I went through these things and this is what's being built into the product, it allowed people to connect to the brand emotionally. But the first thing that anybody is going to see is the product.
Right.
So with the product being dope, or it looked good, the photography that we had was pretty good at that point where I was at in my fashion designer journey. People saw the product and like, yo, that product's dope. Oh, and there's a story behind it. I want to support this. So honestly, the story has always been secondary for the average consumer because we see with our eyes first, not we don't listen with our ears first.
Got it.
So
So they see
that's
that they
really
see
what.
they see the
Yeah,
product, they migrate towards it, and then the story's an add-on. I
yeah, the story is just the additive.
I
Yeah.
get you. I get you. Yeah, and I
Um,
and I agree also. So you're but how do you're marketing the product because you're able to connect with somebody at the school. Your mentor was able to bring
mhm.
you people that understood like content marketing. Is that what it is?
It wasn't even that they understood it. I just got them to record.
I got you.
And I visually, like, I
I
took,
got you.
after working with like all the photographers and videographers that I worked with from the brand building side when I was in college,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
understood, visually how to capture a
You need,
moment and
yeah,
bring things to life.
yeah. I got you. So you needed somebody to hold the camera, to edit,
Exactly.
to produce the content
Yeah.
and put it out and allow somebody
Hmm.
to see the story.
Yeah.
This is what year is this? Year 3, year 4? When are you
That
really?
was year two. I started that year two,
So you
right
started that
when I
year
dropped
2.
that first collection.
Got you. So that this color block logo is 3 years old at this point, right?
Yeah. 2.5, yeah, 2.5, 3 years.
So after the color block logo, I guess you got a little bit of momentum after that. You got people
Hmm.
picking up the brand and really looking at it
Yeah.
and just seeing what it is that you're doing. They have a
Yeah.
saying in the music industry, right? You're only as good
Yeah.
as your last hit, right?
Exactly.
This is the same thing in the business world. It's the same thing in almost everything, right? After the color block, which is dope, by the way. That's kind of how I was attracted to the brand, right?
Mhm.
The rugby piece, that was my
Yeah.
favorite one. Um, what happens after the color block? What happens year 3, year 4?
Hmm.
Look, give me some of
Yeah.
that.
So year after that fall collection, um, like I said, we picked up steam with that collection. Then we transitioned into spring the next year. I designed these windbreakers. It was a windbreaker set, windbreaker pants, windbreaker jacket. But instead of using a typical nylon fabric, I researched fabric and found a fabric called Taslon. Taslon is a higher grade fabric of nylon, and it's more durable and it's waterproof. So by me discovering that fabric, I was able to put it onto the windbreakers. Now the windbreakers are getting ready to drop. I got connected with Wolf Tyler, and I ended up
Who who
doing a
who
placement.
who is Wolf Tyler? I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
Who is that?
yeah. So Wolf Tyler back then was like a Vine celebrity.
Got it.
Like she was popping on Vine, and then now she transitioned into music, and she's like a music artist. She's based out of New York. She's from New York, but lives in LA.
Got it.
And she like wrote some songs on Meg Thee Stallion's album and stuff like that. So I connected with her and was able to get her a windbreaker set. She did a photo shoot with the windbreaker set, and then I did. There's a fitness instructor named Kima Russo who reached out, had like 1 million followers. She liked the windbreaker set, so I sent it out to her. She posted it, so now I'm getting like all this like celebrity, endorsement buzz on the brand. So like I wasn't ready for that.
Organic.
Yeah. It
Organic.
was and it was organic, yeah. So all that stuff came through organic, and then stylists started reaching out to me that work with artists. And I knew like from, the process of trying to get something to an artist, you got to go to the people that are around them because the odds of you getting in contact with them directly are really slim to none,
Sure.
especially in the era of social media. So a lot of stylists started reaching out, and I just started getting more placements. Like I got a play, ended up getting a placement the next year after that. I got placements on like Love and Hip Hop and stuff like that. But still being in that year after the fall collection, I walked in Philly Fashion Week. Then I did another pop-up shop, which was extremely successful, like back to back. So I had Philly Fashion Week 1 week, and then 2 weeks later I did a pop-up.
How
And I
important?
had that moment.
No, sorry
Yeah,
to
no, go
interrupt
ahead.
you. I don't want to cut you off, but how important is Philly Fashion Week
Um,
in this process for you? How important is putting your products in the Philadelphia market and getting a response out of it that people kind of migrate towards and give you that validation?
yeah.
How important was that,
Um,
or was it important for you?
I think Philly Fashion Week was more so big, not for me to just get my product out there. It was big for me because it allowed me, like, I didn't, some ways Philly Fashion Week's work is sometimes you got to pay for a slot. I didn't have to pay for a slot. I ended up getting offered a slot last minute, like a week before the show, because they had somebody that dropped out and they had to fill the slot. So they reached out to me. It was like, hey, I saw your brand on Instagram. Da, 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 da. We'd love to have you in Philly Fashion Week. We had somebody drop out. So I ended up taking the slot, and I showcased the brand in Philly Fashion Week. But at that time, I was working as a store manager in retail for Aldo. And they had a Friday night, Thursday night, they had a show. Friday night, you were able to sit with the director from New York Fashion Week, and they could view your collection.
Hmm.
I wasn't even able to go to that part of the Fashion Week because I had to work that night. So I missed that opportunity. But then I walked Saturday in Fashion Week. Um, and the feedback that we got from Fashion Week was phenomenal because people gravitated towards the logo and the color blocking. Because back in 2016, 2017, people weren't wearing a lot of like loud colors. It was still on that like monotone,
Right.
real neutral vibe. And for my brand to walk in Fashion Week and people seeing all these loud colors and designs, but the quality of the product was along with that. I got a lot of buzz in the fashion realm of Philly because there's an urban market, then there's Philly Fashion Week market. It's two completely different markets. So I
Absolutely.
had a part of the urban community already. But for me to tap into the Philly Fashion Week market, there are people who own boutiques and magazines, and like after Philly Fashion Week, there was a lot of people who had eyes on the brand, and it allowed me to get featured in like a couple of Philly magazines
That's dope.
with just those collections that we showed in Philly Fashion Week. And then right after Philly Fashion Week, 2 weeks later, we were featured in two UK fashion magazines. I sent out product to a model that was in the UK. I linked up with a photographer, sent the product out to the model. They ended up doing a shoot in the UK, and I wasn't even there.
Wow.
And they did the shoot, and we got featured in two UK fashion magazines just based off of that shoot.
That's dope. So it sounds to me like the amount of passion that you put into your brand, bro, it
Mhm.
allows you to elevate the game, and you put your time and your money in really just crafting a product that's really that resonates with you and then the
Mhm.
customer. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Nah, I think that's the foundation of who I am. Like I'm not just gonna put something out to put it out. But with the brand, it allowed me to, it's an extension of me. Like that's how I look at it. My brand is an extension of who I am as a person, my story. Um, and on the flip side, just being able to understand my vision for what fashion is or what my idea of fashion is, and not let the industry try to speed me up or the industry try to change my thought process. Like I'll look at other designers very briefly. I don't study them though. I'll study their business models, but I'm not studying them as a designer because I don't want to be them from the design standpoint. I want to be them from the business model. I want to
Absolutely.
look at Ralph Lauren and look at, okay, how did he grow his business from, just making polo shirts to offering women's and home goods and handbags and having brand segmentation with RL and Purple Label. Like those are the things I'm looking at. I don't care about who's designing what or what's on the trend report or what's on a Pantone color report. I don't care about none of that. I don't design based on trends. I design stuff that to me is timeless. Like 10 years from now is something you could wear.
Sure. I understand totally. I understand totally. They say what's the saying? They say fashion is temporary.
Hmm.
What's the saying? It was fashion is
Fashion
temporary,
is temporary, style is
timeless, right?
yep, that's it.
Yeah. So you're the way that you're crafting product is not on a set schedule. It sounds like you're making capsules based on when you want to drop the capsules. It's not like you have a
Yep.
summer, fall, spring, like drops.
I don't think I've ever adopted, like, I can label something as fall, winter, and the see in like the year,
Yeah,
but like I've never adopted the idea of the fashion industry.
sure.
I think the fashion industry is the biggest joke in the world.
Hmm.
And as I begin getting more acclimated with the processes of, like designing sneakers and designing handbags and just designing clothes in general, I understand 80% of the market is bullshit. Like
What makes it
80% of the
what
market
what
is
what makes you say 80% of the market's bullshit? Why do you say that?
80%. So 80% of the market is bullshit to me. And like this is my personal opinion because I can go on Alibaba, get a vendor. I don't even have to design anything. I can just send them my logo and tell them to put it on a shirt or a jacket.
Sure.
And that's, to me, that's 80% of the market.
Right.
Like if you really sit back and you look at, the Fashion Novas, you look at even the Pretty Little Things, Forever 21, H&M, even the major labels, Gucci, Burberry, they have products that, you can easily go on Alibaba and get the same product.
Sure.
It's not like with this era of the internet, the world is so small now and all the resources are accessible.
Sure.
So for anybody who thinks that, like, I don't know how to do this or I can't make this product, like you can literally Google and find everything that you need in less than 15 to 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
And with
Absolutely.
everything being accessible like that, the market becomes slowly oversaturated. So now it's like even sweatsuits, every single brand literally might have the same vendor for sweatsuits.
Yeah.
They don't have to do any of their sizing. They can just send their logo, take the sizing that the vendor has been using for years, and put their logo on it. And now they have a brand.
So how much of a project, like a cut and sew piece, are you
Mhm.
pattern making?
So me, I don't. So one thing I don't do, I don't sew.
Right.
I can't sew and I can't draw,
Right.
but I can design things digitally, like in Illustrator with lines.
Right.
So like I construct my garments digitally, and then, I add my colorways in, add my logos. I do all my sizing and measurements in house. But my manufacturer, there's a master pattern maker that is with my manufacturer. So I can send them all my digital tech pack with all my specs, and they can draft my patterns for me. So I don't have to do my patterns in house.
They create the tech pack, they create a sample, and then they send it back to you for approval.
Yeah, so I'll send them. I'll do my tech packs, my measurements. I'll send it to them. They'll go to the master pattern maker. He'll make the pattern. We'll start with the sample process. That takes about 2 weeks. I'll get my sample in about 2 weeks, and then if it's ready to go in production, my production takes 3.5 weeks. And sample times are normally like 3 weeks. So I've been able to get building the relationships. I've been able to get my
Cut the
production
time.
times down.
Yeah. Cut the
Yeah.
time, cut the quantity. For sure.
Exactly.
So you talked about the Ralph Lauren model twice in this conversation. How much of the work that you're doing, because every time I pop in on you on Instagram, I popped in on you a couple times on Instagram. I
Hmm.
see this guy's working by himself. He's doing everything on his own. He's packing,
Hmm.
he's pulling. How much of the work for this label are you doing on your own? And how much of this label do you own? How much do you have partners that
Right.
work with you in order to build?
Right. So right now it's just me and my photographer. That's it. We don't have anybody that's like on payroll permanently. We haven't really contracted anything out. Since I do graphic design, that's like 80% of the job.
Sure.
Um, do I need to start outsourcing? Yes, because I can't do everything at the scale that I want to grow now. But um, my photographer came to me about 2.5 years ago, and he told me, "Yo, I saw your brand in Philly Fashion Week. I stopped in at your pop up. Your photos, your photography is not on level with the product that you're putting out."
Sure.
So he was basically telling me like, "Yo, your pictures aren't as great as your product is."
Sure.
And instead of me having an ego and being like, "Yo, you're just a hater," I was like, "All right, let's sit down, let's have a conversation, and let's set up a shoot." I set up the shoot. His name is Rue Castro, probably the best fashion photographer in Philly, Jersey, easy, like by a long shot. He shoots with human aliens. He's been doing stuff. He's about to start doing stuff with Hanifa, the girl that had the first 3D fashion show. So like on a fashion realm, he's like the GOAT, right?
Wow.
We did the first shoot with him, and the brand completely changed. I went from this half in streetwear, half in high end brand to my brand is almost on the same level as a Michael Kors, Jeremy Scott, like from a visual standpoint.
From visuals, yeah.
Yeah. So that transcend, and then we kept building our relationship. We kept working together, and then he actually came in and was like, "Yo, like I believe in your story. I believe in the brand. I'm invested in it." So I ended up giving him a split of the brand, 10%. So he came in for a specific for an amount, 10% of the brand, and he handles a lot of the photography, in house for the brand. And it was just me understanding that, okay, I can't do it all by myself. I have an amazing photographer who is invested in the brand, not only because it's dope, but because the story behind it. And we can build together. So that was the biggest relationship that I've had with anybody in the brand thus far. So that's what Urbane is. Urbane is 90 me, 10 Rue Castro.
Right.
And that's it. Like I didn't take money. I didn't get money from like a $1 million investor to grow my brand or anything like that. Everything has been done in house, and it will remain in house for Urbane because I don't want to touch. That's my baby. I don't want to touch that.
Right.
Like I don't want to give. I don't want to give that away because it's an extension of me.
So how do you scale moving forward, right?
So
Because for when you're building a brand, when you're building a retail brand, right? Because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to go direct to the consumer and build a brand. So far as what I can see, right? Yeah, we haven't spoken about if there's any product placement in retail stores or anything like that. So as far as I know right now, you're trying to go direct to the customer.
Yeah.
And in this day, it's a very accessible way to get to the customer. You can, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you scale on your own without a team of people, without people that you put in a position to help you scale a concept? How do you do that?
Right. So like I was saying from the gate, like my idea of the brand was to be a testimony for what I can help do for somebody else. So from a scaling standpoint, with Urbane, my product can sell online like well. It sells well online, but it's something that has to be seen in person for you to really believe it and understand it.
Sure.
Like you can see quality in the image, like
Yeah.
you can tell,
Yeah.
but that necessarily won't translate to just to a purchase if it's at a medium or high price point,
Sure.
because the consumer now is more price conscious than ever because there's so many options for them to choose from.
Sure.
So for me it was like I got to try to find a way to get into a location, or I got to find a way to have my own location where people can come in and experience the brand in real time. So I actually had interviews with Lapstone and Hammer, and I had an interview with P's and Q's. I had the interviews with them. This was about 2 years ago. Had the interviews with them. They saw the product, loved the product. Quality, they were like, first thing they said was, "Yo, the quality is phenomenal."
Right.
But the last thing that they said was, "You don't have enough hype behind your brand, so we can't put you in this store." And for me, at that point, it was just a reality check. Like, I can't rely on anybody else to give me an opportunity. Like, I can't expect my brand to be in a store. I can't have those expectations. So I got to create my own experience and create my own store. So the idea with the new space that we leased was the idea that I had from the beginning, which was the consulting part, to where I could help brands elevate. Like I could have went and got an Urbane store completely by myself and been 100% selfish and did that and scaled the brand that way. Like easily, I could have. But instead, I wanted to create an atmosphere and a community that, I can have my wall where I need to have it in the space, but I can give other brands an opportunity to help them grow. And with Urbane, it's going to allow Urbane to organically grow because now I'm in a retail location, which I run this retail location and my brand is in here. We'll have other brands in here that can help drive traffic, not only to my brand, but will help drive traffic to their brand as well. And then from a scale standpoint, now I'm in a position where I can house people if I need to.
So
So like if I want to,
this space is a collective space that what you've done is you've leased the space, and now what you're doing is you're positioning your brand as a brand within the space, and then you're going to lease additional spaces to other vendors within that.
right. So the model is a little bit more complicated than that because the space is actually a co-working space.
Mm.
So people can come in, utilize the Wi-Fi. We have We'll have a music studio. We'll have a live stream Twitch room where people, can Twitch Call of Duty and Xbox and whatever. We have a makeup tutorial room. If a makeup artist doesn't have her own studio, she can come in and take her clients here, do their makeup. We'll have a lounge area to where, you can just come in, hang out, watch TV. So like we created an experience space, which is like a WeWork, but it's going to have retail built into the back end. So the goal for the space is for us to get brands in-house. We can help them with brand development. We can do their websites, mobile app. My partner, who is a real estate investor, actually runs a digital marketing company. So we basically took a lot of the things that we do phenomenally well and merged them into one space to where we can house a brand, develop a brand from their visuals to photography, videography. We can build their websites for them. We can do their Facebook ads. We can do their product development, whether that's from a manufacturing side overseas, because I have all those resources, whether it's clothes, accessories, watches, chains, hats, like home goods, I can produce any product now because I have those resources.
Sure.
So with that, we're also launching our own wholesale brand. So instead of people having to, go to a Bella Canvas or a Next Level or a Gildan, we'll have super high quality blanks that our brands in-house can use.
So somebody's listening to this right now and they're thinking to themselves, man, that sounds good. How do I start? How can they get a hold of you? How they can reach out? Right. How can they reach out to you?
So what they can do is our website will end up being live like the first week in December, and they can just fill out a contact form. And if they want to be a part of the space, they would apply. They would get a membership. So like we have regular memberships that'll start at $30, and then we have a membership where you can bring a guest in for $50. That's like the basic membership where you can just come in and use the Wi-Fi. You don't really get any utility in the inside of the space, but being around other creatives, right?
So $30 gets you what exactly? It just gets you access to the space?
Get you access to the space, the Wi-Fi, and then being able to be in here with other creatives that you can connect with. Because like most people, like I know me, I can't sit at home on my computer and like just create and lock in. Like sometimes I got to be in a certain type of atmosphere, and that's really what a WeWork is. Right. You get to go somewhere else that's like a satellite office or a satellite workspace where you might be able to socially connect with some people who are doing the same thing that you're doing.
Got it.
So yeah, so that's what the baseline of the space is. But us a brand being able to come in, and we can help develop a higher quality product. And if you want to be sold here, you have to be a member. Like we're not opening the doors to anybody that's just random and doesn't want anything to do with building the community in the space.
Sure.
So our goal is, you get your membership. The membership can also get you a free brand consultation. So we can diagnose the brand, see where the areas of opportunity are. And on the flip side, if you want to get your stuff sold here, you have to fill out an application. If your application is denied for your stuff to get sold in the space, we'll put a 3 to 6 month action plan together for you with a budget so that we can get you to the point where your brand can be sold here. Like when I went to P's and Q's and Lapstone and Hammer, they were basically like, yo, your brand doesn't have enough hype. You're out of luck. We can't put you in here. But they didn't tell me like, yo, if you do this or you do that, we could have an opportunity here for you.
Sure.
So I think that's a huge opportunity with brands, because a lot of brands just don't have that direction or anybody close to them who, has ran a brand that is somewhat successful. So by us being able to offer those tools, it can help the brands grow, but then it'll also help our consulting business, because we have a proven model with URBANE that we can build a brand and build an amazing product. We have a wholesale distribution line where we can get you higher quality blanks than you're getting anywhere else. So a brand that automatically comes in and works with us is automatically going to be elevated.
And how do you price that? Somebody comes to you and says, listen, I have a brand. I want you to work with me on the wholesale side of it. How do you price it?
Right. So all they would do is if they're just looking for wholesale, they would have to just get the membership. They can get a basic membership, then they get access to wholesale pricing on the wholesale blanks that we have. But we'll be retailing our wholesale blanks at full price. So like if random customer comes in, they're like, I just want a plain black hoodie that's like phenomenal in quality, they can buy that blank hoodie for $65 or $70. But if you're a brand and you come in and you have a membership, you can get access to wholesale pricing.
Gotcha. And what if they want to scale their brand? How do you offer that consulting service? How do you price that?
Right. So it would go on an hourly basis. So like for me to do your consultations, personally, I charge $75 an hour for a consultation. And in any type of brand work, I'm billed at $75 an hour. So whatever it takes me to do, but I can give you an action plan where you can execute because we have all the resources that you need inside the space. So if you have like the higher level membership, which is probably like, I think it was $200 a month, you get access to certain amenities, whether it's, we have a cyclo wall in the space where somebody can come in and, shoot their content. You can't really go anywhere to get a cyclo wall.
Sure.
It's very, very rare to find something in space, especially in South Jersey.
Sure.
So we have like a cyclo wall where somebody can come in and shoot video content.
How
and
big
have
is
that all white?
How big is the space?
Our space, like in general?
Yeah, yeah. How big is
5,000 square feet.
There's a 5,000 square foot space. Big space, man. That's not small.
It's huge.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's huge.
So okay, so I understand what you're saying. So you have the photography space, you have you're setting up the environment, you're setting up the foundation of what's needed for somebody to start a brand.
Right. And the thing is, and this is what I've preached to a lot of people is, I can give you the tools, I can give you the resources, but I can't do the work for you.
Sure.
So I'm going to give you everything that we have in-house. I'm going to give you everything that we have.
Yeah.
Everything that we can offer you, I'm going to give it to you, but it's up to you to take it and run with it. And that was something I had to teach myself when I was doing clients' websites. Is like, I can build you a phenomenal website, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has to push the traffic and make the money to keep it going. Sure. And that was something I had to realize, because I used to take on people's brands or websites like they were my own.
Yeah.
But you can't necessarily do that because it's up to them to run the machine. You can't run it for them unless they're paying you to do that. So that was something I realized. And I realized that, if I can give somebody the resources that they need to be able to elevate their brand and they want to do the work, they can easily be successful. Because I've seen a different distribution. Like, I understand the wholesale model. I understand mixing a wholesale model with a manufacturing model so that you don't have to deal with like 9 months of a delayed production like I did.
Right.
So it's just a matter of understanding the processes. But now it's like, if a brand comes in here, just the fact that we can get you high quality wholesale blanks that nobody else has access to, that's the exclusivity factor right there.
Why would nobody else have access to that? People can source blanks on their own. Why would they need to go through? Why would they need to go through you?
Because if they want to save time and money, they'll go through us. We proved it already.
It's more efficient.
And that's the thing it's more efficient. Like, even with manufacturing, right? So I do consultations with building products from scratch, like whether it's a garment, whatever. So easily somebody could go on Alibaba, find a manufacturer, and go through the manufacturing process, the sample process, and spend thousands of dollars just to get to that point.
Right.
Or you can pay me, somebody who's done it already, and we can do all of your everything in-house. Your sizing, I have over 1,000 fabric swatches that we can choose from, bunch of different fabrics, and we can do everything in-house, and I can save you time and money, because you going out and finding your own manufacturer alone is going to take you 3 to 6 months. Can you easily go get some sweatsuits from a vendor and put your logo on it? Cool. Yeah. But if you want to make a custom product that is yours, that nobody can be like, that's definitely, original favorites, or that's Bella Canvas, or that's Next Level, or this is that's definitely a Gildan hoodie. Like, when you build something completely custom, nobody can tell you that it's from somewhere else. Like, I can do something custom down to the different color ribbing. The inside of the hood can be a different material than the outside. We can do like any type of measurements that we want. We can have Velcro on and off logos. Like, I have no restriction. So if you want to go find your own manufacturer, then please, I applaud you.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure.
We've done it already.
Yeah. So how many of these projects have you currently done?
Right. So I've developed, I launched my sock manufacturing company last month, and I've already locked in 5 orders with clients already. So earlier this year, I launched my first set of socks.
What's MOQ on those orders?
The MOQ 100.
100 pieces
per color, 100 per color. Yeah.
What's the cost?
And the price?
What's the cost?
$3.30 per pair. It ranges depending on how many units.
Shipped to door, or is that FOB China?
Yeah, ship to door.
Ship to door.
Oh no, I'm lying. The shipping cost is $180, and then that's it. So you got $330 plus $180. So you're looking at $510 plus your sample cost, which is $100. So you're looking at around $600 for 100 pairs, but that's only like the cost of your first order. After you reorder, you don't have to go through the sample process again. Or if you have to order a different color, you don't have to go through the sample process again because it's the same design, just different color.
I got you. So where is this place located for anybody that's watching that's interested in going there and checking it out? Because I will be.
Yeah,
I'll be going
yeah,
over there
no,
to check it
definitely,
out.
yeah. So
Where's
it's
it
Avenue
located?
Black in Gloucester Premium Outlets.
Yeah.
We're 2 doors down from Michael Kors. We were next door to Polo, but Polo ended up moving to a larger. It's just crazy that I could talk about Ralph Lauren and we're damn near next door to them, but we're in the same outlet as them. So Gloucester Premium Outlets right by Camden County College.
That's dope. So how are people receiving you so far?
I haven't really even posted that much about the space, um, but the people who have came and saw it were blown away, and then we haven't even done anything really yet. Like the space is minimal right now. Like we have some furniture. We did a photo shoot in here last week where I set up my section like an Urbane section, and we did a photo shoot with. We had a model that came down from New York,
Sure.
and we did a photo shoot like they were in a store, and it was like all Urbane product all over, the watches, the accessories, clothes, and we shot them basically in the shop.
Hmm.
So it came out. It was dope.
It was pretty cool. What
Yeah.
is there any way we can see the space right now? Is there a way
I
to
can
move?
if I can twist my camera around. So this is like
What
this will
what
be like an Apple Genius bar right here.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
What was
no,
this
go ahead.
what
What were you
was the
gonna say?
space? What was the space originally? What was it
Oh yeah,
originally?
so it was New York and Company.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah, so they actually went out of business. They filed bankruptcy and they closed all their stores.
Yeah.
So we actually took over their space. Let me see if my cord is going to reach. So this is like the front half of the store. I'll try to move it as much as I can. Hopefully this doesn't unplug. But
It's big,
and
man.
then it's a good size. Got my food over here. Um, So and then the cyclo wall is over there in the back.
Where's the cyclo wall? It's on the left.
Cyclo wall
Yeah.
over
Yeah,
there in the
yeah, yeah. I
back.
see it. I see it.
And then these are going to be like the private working booths. And we got a pool table. So
What an interesting space, man.
yeah, I mean,
Very interesting.
it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a project. Like everything's not going to be 100% done. By the time we open, we're still going to have to get some stuff, figured out as far as like, adding more amenities as we go. But we just wanted to have the baseline of like the stuff that we would basically need for now. So
That's dope, man. It's never really done, to be honest with you. Take it from somebody that's gone through it a few times. It's never really a done process. You're always kind of working on it as you go.
right.
So what is next for you for the brand? Are you trying to get into retail position? Are you trying to get it direct to consumer? Is that the route that you want to take? How are you going to get into that position where you think you're going to get, RL purple label, and how are you going to diversify yourself and get the brand and scale it to where you need it to be?
The vision for me is, to focus on Avenue Black right now. I have Urbane or Avenue Black which is the space.
Real quick, why the name Avenue Black?
So from the gate, when I started Urbane, before I started Urbane, I wanted to start a digital magazine. And this was 5-6 years ago. I wanted to start a digital magazine that catered to, local artists, fashion, music, all of those different categories. And the name Avenue Black came up because there was really no avenue back then for artists of color, as far as like, digital platforms or anything like that. So that's what I wanted to create back then. And ever since I had the name, it kind of just stuck with me. But as I grew, I understood the meaning behind Avenue Black is, and it's really, taking things from, it's basically like the light at the end of the tunnel. That's really what Avenue Black is. It's, you got to go through this avenue or, this tunnel that's dark to get to the end,
Right.
which is the light. So that was kind of like the whole vision and the whole meaning behind the true meaning behind like what Avenue Black is. And once I got the name, like I said, I had the name for over 5 years. So it's been there. It was just, I had to evolve the whole mindset of it because it's not just a consulting company now. We're an entire co-working conglomerate that offers consulting and brand building.
That's dope, bro. That's very cool. So when I first reached out to you, you know, we had a quick conversation about that. That's a lot more involved than I expected, to be honest. So that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
That's pretty
And
dope.
then with Urbane, like what's next for that is we have a bunch of new pieces dropping this Friday for Black Friday. We got Velcro Varsity, Suede Bomber. Um, I had to transition out of survival mode. So like we talk about Nipsey all the time. And something that Nipsey says is you can't operate in survival mode because when you operate in survival mode, you're doing things to get to the next thing.
Right.
Like if I'm designing clothes and I'm in survival mode, I'm like, yo, I got to make these 30 shirts and I got to sell them all just so I can get to the next step. And that's not going to allow you to flourish. So I had to take a step back and you know, try to figure out, you know, what is my purpose? What is my legacy going to consist of? And I really enjoy helping people and helping brands. Um, I really enjoy helping people and helping brands. So with Avenue Black, everybody knows everybody's trying to sell a product right now. Like everybody and their mom is like, yo, I want to make t-shirts, I want to make candles, I want to make this, I want to make that. But there's very few people who want to service those people who are trying to sell a product.
Hmm.
And that's really where my focus is because at the end of the day, I have to run a business and I have to, you know, put food on the table and I have to pay my bills. I don't want to feel pressure to do that with Urbane because I won't be designing what I want to design. I'll be designing to survive.
Right.
And that's what my transition was. So like now I could do, you know, 4 capsules or 5 capsules a year and be completely fine and satisfied with Urbane. And I don't have to feel pressure from anyone, myself, the industry, or anything, you know, to keep dropping stuff every single week, or you know, like because now I have a place where I can house my product, and I just redesigned all my basics that are getting manufactured, and we'll have stuff in house that you know you can just come in and take a look at all the time. And that was the part of me adopting the retail mind of what I had when, because if you look at even any of the stores you see on Fifth Avenue, New York, a lot of those stores aren't profitable.
Right.
Most people think like these are billion-dollar stores there, but
They're not.
like the company I work for, Aldo, yeah, the only reason why they had a store on Fifth Ave was because it was a marketing clause.
Sure.
Oh, if you're on vacation or you're visiting and you see Aldo and you go in there and you're like, oh my God, these shoes are so cool, let me buy them. And then you go back home in Arizona where you live,
You buy them.
you are more inclined to go back to the
Sure.
store.
They're lost.
But
They're
now
lost.
with,
They're lost leaders. Most of the stores on Fifth Avenue are
yeah,
lost leaders. Times Square.
without a doubt.
They're
Hmm.
actually living billboards, is what they are. So
Yeah,
a lot of
that's all it is.
yeah, yeah.
And when once I understood that, I understood like, okay, why would I go realistically, even if I could make a killing if I had my own store, why would I go have my own store? That's just me pressuring myself that, I gotta constantly put designs out because I gotta keep the store full. And I gotta make sure that, that we drop a collection every season because that's what the people want. Like, but with me only having a wall in the space, I don't have to pressure myself to drop a bunch of stuff. I can drop when I want to drop and be completely content and comfortable with that. But now I have a space where I can house my brand. I can house my inventory. I don't have to stress myself about, working in a 150 square foot office in my house and having shelves of apparel just sitting there and packaging up orders with walking over boxes. Like I don't have to worry about that anymore because I put my ego to the side and got a bigger space that can, benefit a lot more people.
How how are people receiving that on the benefit side, not the customer side, but like how many
Right.
people are coming in and are like, yeah, I want this wall. I want to take a wall in here. I want to take a wall. And how many people are doing that?
I mean, for the Black Friday pop up, we have 7 vendors locked in already. And I mean, we have to think maybe one more slot left. I might just create a slot because somebody just hit us up. But when people come in and see the space, it's like they get it. They're like you're not gonna go have a pop up or even get into a retail store where you'll be able to come in and merchandise your own product. We have clothing racks, we have shelving space, we have gondolas, we have display tables, we have like there's not like we have literally everything because New York and Company left everything for us.
Right.
You can't like you're not gonna go and you damn sure ain't gonna go on Michael Kors and get a wall.
Right.
So it's like we're in a prime location next to one of the biggest designers in the world right now, 2 doors down. You're not gonna find a better location where you can come in and customize your own installment on a wall.
Right.
And then let alone the traffic that comes through here.
So you're
Last
finding
Black Friday.
you're
Yeah.
finding interest?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Dope.
I have, because I already deal with brands already. So now I have somewhere where I can house them.
Sure,
So
sure,
like
sure.
taking on new clients, that's cool, but I'm gonna work with the clients that we have first and build them up to the point where they can have what is here. And any new clients that come in, they'll get worked in to the funnel.
That's
But
dope.
it's a process that everybody has to go through because we just can't sell anybody's product
Right,
in here. Like,
right.
because there's a certain aesthetic that has to be maintained.
Sure.
And it's not, and the space is not 100% retail focused. We really only have 3 or 4 spaces in the store that's going to have retail. But it's the fact that if you come in here and your brand is in here, people are coming in here getting an experience first, and then they can enjoy your brand second.
That's dope.
And that's where we wanted to, me working in retail, I just understood that experience always has to be first. A
When
product can sell, it's just the experience got to come first.
Absolutely. When do you think you're gonna have this place up and running?
So we'll be open for Black Friday, and then we might shut down for a week, and then we'll be up and ready to go by mid-December.
So you're expecting to be there
Um,
for Christmas, throughout Christmas
yeah,
season.
yeah,
Got it.
without a doubt. And our membership should launch the second week of December. If they don't launch the second week in December, because we got to finish up some of the amenities to make sure that they're 100% ready to go. Then if they would start January 1st.
That's dope. So if you guys are tuning in to this episode, I got my man Charles J here from URBANE. URBANE, right? That's how you pronounce
Yep.
it. Name of the brand is URBANE. If you're interested in his story, if you're interested in his brand, or if you're interested in his space, Avenue Black, there's gonna be a link in the description section of this video, and it'll take you to his website, his Instagram. It'll get you some information about how you can get more info on what it is that he's doing. Charles, is there anything that you want to ask me? Do you have any thoughts, any questions that you have for me before I let you go?
So what made you want to start a podcast?
Me? Huh. Okay. So what made me start a podcast? Well, I've been in business for 20 years, right? I've been in business for myself since I would say about 16 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like throughout that process, I've gotten to meet a lot of interesting people, and all the people that I've met, they all have an underlying grit. They have an underlying personality, underlying grit. And this is something that I wanted to dive into, and I wanted to provide that kind of value and storytelling to people that are going to be the next wave of entrepreneurs, right? Or they're currently, the current wave of entrepreneurs. There's people watching this, and they're starting their music career.
Mm-hmm.
They want some guidance, man. Not everybody has the ability to have a conversation like this, right?
Right.
There's people that they don't have a family member that owns a business, so they don't think it's accessible,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's people that, they're looking at this channel and they're trying to figure out what their next move is. So I feel like that's a very valuable thing. So that's why I started this podcast.
That's real. That's genuine.
So I think in this world, this new world, man, you gotta give people some real stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to take, bro. But I feel like that this can be valuable for the right people. So that's why I started this podcast. So if you guys watching this is the Hustle Man Show. This is Charles J. It's the URBANE episode. Make sure you check out his co-op, his cooperative workspace, his WeWork / fashion workspace. Make sure you check out his label, and just make sure you check out the guy. I feel like his story is really cool. His brand is really interesting. And I feel like there's one thing that overarches your whole story, your whole narrative, man. It's not just the brand. It's not just the workspace. Your story is the grit. It is the hustle, right? Mm-hmm. You had to beat the biggest demon in the world, man. One of the big life. Yeah. You got to be able to survive, right? So that's kind of a big deal.
Definitely.
So that's where we'll leave it. Yeah. Charles, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, all love, man. I appreciate it. I love being here.
Thank you, pal. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And remember, business is always personal. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Hustle Man Show. Make sure you click that subscribe button, tap that bell. For the audio experience to Spotify and SoundCloud, links are below. To follow us on Instagram and Twitter, it's @CapSwagUSA. Remember, business is always personal.